Hi everyone, welcome to our first Java tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to create Java project, Java package, Java classes, and we are going to learn how to print out messages to the console with using system.out.println method and system.out.print method. And at the same time, we are going to learn what is the difference between those two methods. So let's get started. In order to create your project, you need to click on File and New, and you need to click on Java Project. If you are doing it for the first time, most probably you will not have Java Project in the drop-down menu, so you need to click on Other and find Java here and click on Java Project. I will click on this and click on Next. And in this site, you will name your project. I will name it as my first project. Well, project names always start with uppercase. And I will click on Finish. And there you go, you can see my first project. So in order to start to write down the codes, I need to have one package and one class. So that's what I'm going to create right now. Right click on First Project, click on New, and click on Package. And right here, I'm going to write down my first package. And as you realize, my first package name starts with lowercase. I will click on Finish. And after that, I will create one class. So right click on Package, click on New, and click on Class. And I will name my class as my first class. And I will click on public static void main. This public static void main method is important because Java always looks for main methods in order to execute the programs. So we'll click on Finish. And we have our fresh new package and class. First of all, I will erase these letters. And I will write down system.out.print and parentheses. Well, this system.out.print is a special method, and this special method showing me the value inside of the parentheses in the console. So let's check it out. What do I mean by that? I will write down 9876 here. And I will click on Run button, 9876 in the console. So this is my output of the program. I will click on this console and drag it to the down so that I will be able to see class and console at the same time. All right, and let's lower this. And this is pretty cool because I can change these numbers. And then I will see different numbers in the console. I can also create one more system.out.print method, copy this, paste in the below, and I will write down here 99999, and I will run this program. As you can see, I get the two values in the output, but they are printed out side by side, and I cannot see which one is which number. All right. In order to differentiate it in the console, I'm going to use some other kind of methods, which is instead of system.out.print, I will write down system.out.print ln. All right. And when I run this, I will see those two numbers in different lines, so I can say which one is which number. And let's say I'm going to write down one other number here, system.out.print. And this system.out.print is going to print some other numbers. When I run this program, again for the next second line, I still have messed up numbers. One piece looks like one number, but it is not. This is two numbers. So in order to differentiate it, I will use println. And I will use println for this also, so that after any kind of print method right after this number, I will be able to see it in the next line. So there you go. I have three numbers in three different lines. In order to print out some kind of messages, so let's say I want to print out hello folks. In order to do that, I need to write down two double quotes here. And inside of these two double quotes, I will write down my message. So as you can see here, we have hello folks. And when I run this program, I will see in the console, hello folks. So why do I use double quote here? Well, that's easy to answer. Let's erase this double quotes and see what's happening in the program. I will run it again. I have a bunch of red words in the console, which is unwanted thing. That means my program is not working because we need to use double quotes for this piece of text. So let's add these double quotes and get rid of the problem. As you can see, hello folks and bunch of numbers. And I can change inside of this message. I can write down anything I want. So I can write down this piece of message. And when I run the program, I will see it in the console. Well, let's say I'm going to erase all of these messages. And I will paste this system out print again. And I will change it into system out println. And I will raise it. And I will add some star here. I will run this and you will see one star here. I will copy this and paste it 5 times. And I will change it a little bit. I will add, so I will create some kind of pattern. So I will write down 1, 2, 3, and 2 again, and 1. So I have this kind of pattern. When I run this program, I will see this pattern in the console. So we can change it a little bit. We can do it like 1, 3, 1, 3, and 5, 3 again, and 1 again. Run this program and you will see this pattern in the console. So we learned what's the difference between println and print methods. In the next video, we will talk about variables. So see you guys. Hi everyone, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to create comments in Java. And we will specifically learn what is single line commenting and what is multi-line commenting. So let's get started. This is my Java program, and I will write down some message to the console, like my name. This program right now prints out my name, and in order to document this program and what this program is doing, I'm going to write down some commenting here with using 2 forward slash, and I'm going to write down this program prints my name. So this 2 forward slash is being used for one single line commenting. If I want to keep writing my comments in another line, it's not going to work. So as you can see, if I try to write down my commenting without 2 forward slash, it is going to give me some warning and it will cause a compiler error. But if I want to use this commenting with 2 or more line, I'm going to write down / and star and click on enter. And I will start to write down and document what my code is doing. So after / and star, I am writing down my comment with using multiple lines. If you want to keep writing down, you can always write down the other codes here. If you want to write down some other additional information, you can always hit on enter and keep writing. It will allow you as much as you want. These are one-line and multi-line commenting, guys. So thank you so much and see you at another video. Hello everyone, welcome to our second Java tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to learn primitive and non-primitive data types, and we are going to learn how to create variables. So let's get started. Let's start with data types. What is data types? Well, data is basically any set of characters that is gathered and translated for some purpose, usually analysis. And it can be character including text, numbers, pictures, sound, or video. First of all, we have primitive data types. Primitive data types are the most basic data types available within the Java language. And primitive data types includes byte, short, integer, long, float, double, boolean, and characters. And we have non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types are basically called reference types because they are referring to the objects. We have numeric primitive data types and non-numeric primitive data types. Numeric primitive data types, they are holding numbers. We are also sectioning them into two, integer and floating numbers. Well, integer numbers are byte, short, integer, and long. Floating numbers are double and float. For the non-numeric ones, we have characters and boolean. And for the non-primitive data types, we have strings, arrays, and other kind of classes. Let's check this table. We have different kind of data types in the first column, and we have the keywords in the second column. We will use these keywords in order to declare the variables. And we have the bit value of every data type. And in the right column, you can see an example of every data type. Well, character can hold some kind of characters. This A can be anything. It can be B, C, D, exclamation mark, question mark, every kind of character you can imagine. And byte is holding some numbers. Short is holding some numbers. Integer is holding some numbers. Long is holding some numbers. We have float here. Float is holding some decimal pointed numbers. And while we are using float, we are using F keywords. And we have double. Double is also holding decimal numbers. And boolean is holding true value. This true value can also be false. In this table, we can see different kinds of data types and their ranges. We have integer type in a range of from -2 billion to the +2 billion. And we have byte, which is from -128 to +127. And we can also see their sizes. Since integer type can hold in a bigger range of numbers, its size is 4 bytes. But byte is holding relatively smaller range of numbers. That's why my size is 1 byte. We have short and long in the different ranges, and their size also changes differently. We have double, which is for floating type of numbers, and it can hold 15 significant decimal digits. That's why it is 8 bytes. And we have float in 4 bytes, character in 2 bytes, and boolean in 1 byte. In this picture, you can see the different size of different data types. If you look at the byte, it's comparatively the smallest data type. And we have short, which is one step longer, one step bigger than byte. We have integer, long, float, and double, and they are increasing in different sizes. Now we come to declaring variables in Java. In Java, we are using variables in order to store some data. If you take a look at this example, we have integer age equals 20. Age is variable name here, and integer is data type, and we are using equal sign, and we are assigning value here. Every time we are creating variable, we need to type in the data type and the variable name, and we need to assign some values. If you write down this in Java, what's happening in the backside is we are reserving some memory in the RAM memory for my variable. So basically, this rectangle is my variable's place, and we are putting some values inside of this memory. If you look at this example, we have string data type here. String data type is holding some piece of text. First, we are writing down the data type, and we are writing down variable name. This variable name can change. In the first example, it's question, and in the second example, it's answer. And we have variable content. Also, variable content can change. Let's check another example here. We are using 2 lines in order to assign variable. First, we are writing down our variable data type and then variable name. And after writing that, we are writing this variable name and assigning a number or assigning a value to this variable. We are doing that for different things also. We have double variable here. This integer variable number, we are declaring the variable and we are assigning the number in the other line. And we are doing the same thing for other variables. Here we have double value of a book. And the value of a book is holding another value in this side. So as you realize that double variables can hold decimal pointed numbers. And in order to print out those values, I'm using system.println method, and we are printing out in this way. Let's make some examples in the Eclipse. All right, guys, now we are going to create our variables. I will create one variable from every kind of data types. First of all, I would like to write down the formula of declaring variables. I am using my commenting 2// and now I can write down some comments to my Eclipse. I will say that, first of all, in order to declare a variable in one line, I'm writing down data type. Well, this data type can be any kind of data type, such as integer, byte, double, short, or string. And then we are writing down our variable name equals to some value. This is declaring the variable in one line. And we can also declare a variable in multiple lines. In order to do that, I'm going to write down, by the way, don't forget the semicolon here. In order to create the variable in 2 lines, I'm going to write down data type, variable name, and semicolon. After that, I will write down variable name equals to value. This is how we are declaring the variables. Well, this is first way, and this is second way. Let's start with the smallest data type, which is byte. In order to create variables, what we are doing, first we are writing down the data type name. I'm going to start with byte. And the name of the data type, I will name it as my byte. It can be anything you want. All right, equals, I will assign some numbers, which is 100. After I declare my variable, I want to print out this in the console. In order to do that, I will write down system.out.println method. And inside of this, I will write down my byte is my byte. So this my byte represents this variable. These are the same thing. And when I print this out in the console, you will see my byte 100. So let me drag this console to the bottom. And my byte is coming from here, and 100 will create another variable, which is short. In order to create a short variable, we are writing down short, and I will name it as my short. Again, it can be anything because it's a variable name. And I will assign it to 3000. In order to print this out, I'm going to write down system.out.println my short, my short. Now, if I run this program, I will see that my short variable is holding 3000 value. Let's do one example for all of the data types. And in this integer, in order to create an integer type, I'm writing down int. And I will name it my int equals 90,000. And I'll print this out, system.out.println. My integer is equals to my integer, which is 90,000. I will create one of them, then I will print it out after creating for all of them. The next thing is long. So the long is, we are writing down long. My long equals some number. I will create a really big numbers because long can hold really big numbers. And I'm going to use L after that. So this L is specifying that this big number is long data type. This is L, and this is right now lowercase. It can also be uppercase. Okay, I will print this out. System.out.println another example is float type. So float, my float equals some float numbers. I will do it like 5.9. In order to declare the float, you need to write down F here. Just like long, we need to write down F, and my program is going to understand that this number is float type. I will print this out. And then we will create another example, which is double. Double is also holding decimal numbered numbers. .8. And for the double, I don't need to specify anything just like in the F. I don't write down any word, any letter after that. I'm printing out system.println my double. These are my numeric values so far. So let's start from byte, short, integer, long. These are for integer numbers, which is no decimal point. They are whole numbers. And these are my numeric values, which is decimal pointed numbers. All right. And then we have other variable types, which is Boolean. Boolean data type can hold true or false value. Let me write down here. True or false. Boolean, my Boolean equals true, or Boolean, my Boolean 2 equals false. The important thing here, guys, we cannot repeat this variable name 2 times. If I change this my Boolean 2 into my Boolean, this is going to give me error because I already created my Boolean data type. So I cannot repeat this name again. And let's print out that also. My Boolean 1 and then system.println my Boolean 2. All right, my Boolean 2 is holding true or false. We have another thing which is character, and this is the last primitive data type. So character data type, let's say character example. Characters can hold some kind of characters. I will name it as my character. In order to assign the character, I need to use single quote. And this single quote can hold any type of characters. It can hold space. It can hold 5, 4, R, T, G, or let's say like this kind of German B. But actually the only rule is it can hold one character at a time. All right, I cannot add more characters here. I cannot just write down a couple of characters at the same time, sorry. So I cannot add those characters at the same time. It needs to hold only one character. All right, so this is my character, system.println. So we finished all the primitive data types. Let's say byte, short, integer, long, float, and doubles. These are all numeric primitive data types. And Boolean and character are non-numeric primitive data types. Let's run this program. We have all those values. in my console. And the next thing I'm going to do is I will give you guys one non-primitive data type example, which is string. String. And in this string, I'm going to create string variable. We are writing down string. It's starting with uppercase. String is going to hold my name equals. In order to assign the string, we are using double quotes. And we can write down anything we want here. It can be Ahmed, or it can be Ahmed can, Turk, loves Java programming, and so on. We can write down anything we want here. All right, so let's run this program. System.println name, and run this. We can see this message. Thank you so much, guys. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn different types of operators in Java. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Java tutorial. This is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial, we are going to learn arithmetic operators, assignment operators, and relational operators in Java. So let's get started. We have different kind of arithmetic operators in Java. Plus sign is adding two numbers to each other, and minus sign subtracting two numbers, and this star sign multiplying two numbers. Forward slash is using for division. Percent sign is using for modulus operator, which is basically giving a remainder of division of two numbers. We have plus plus signs, which we call increment operator, and we have minus minus, we call decrement operator. I would like to make one example for all of these operators. So let's move to the Eclipse. Let's start to make some examples. I'm going to write them on system.println methods. And I will write down two numbers here, and I will use plus sign. As we all know that plus sign is adding two numbers. And if I hit the run button, I will see the answer 17 in the console. I can use different kind of operators for each of them. I will start with plus, minus, and multiplication, which is the star sign, and division. If I hit the run button again, I will see 9 plus 8 is 17, 9 minus 8 is 1, 9 times 8 is 72, and 9 over 8 is 1. So 1 here is integer type. We don't have the double answer in the console. If we would like to see the double value on the console, we can basically write down. If we would like to see the double value of this calculation, I can write down double, like the left side of the calculation, but make sure that it's inside of the parentheses. And if I run this program again, I will see the double equivalent of this calculation. I would like to show you the modulus operator. So modulus operator is with using percent sign. Since 9 divided by 8 is giving me a remainder of 1, the answer is going to be 1. If I change the number in the right side to 7, my remainder is going to be 2. So the console number is going to be 2. Next thing I'm going to show is increment and decrement operators. In order to show that, I need to create one variable. And I will use this a plus plus and semicolon. In this line, I increased a by 1, and I'm going to write down this as a documentation. A increased by 1. How am I going to see that it increased or not? Well, I will print it out. And in the console, I will see that A changed into 9. I can use minus minus operator also to decrease a variable by 1. A minus minus and system out println A. In this case, I decreased the A by 1. It was 8 here. I increased it by 1. It became 9. I decreased it by 1. It became 8 again. And I will print it out. And the last thing I see in the console is 8. If I decrease it a couple of times, I will see different number, 6. Because in every line, I decreased A by 1. So let's count it again. It was 8. I increase it, it became 9. I decrease it, it became 8, 7, and 6. And when I print it out, I saw 6. In order to see how A changed in every line, I can print this A after every statement, and then I can see how it changed in every line. So I'm gonna run, and first thing it was 9, and then it became 8, and 7, and 6. We use the decrement and increment operators in the right side, but actually it matters to write it down in the left side or right side. It both doing the different things. So in order to show the difference, I will open a new class. Let's come here. I created a new class which is pre, post, increment and decrement. Let's make some examples. I'm going to create an integer variable which is like 9, and I will print out the value in the console, and I will write down like A++. So surprisingly, the value I'm gonna see in the console will be 9. Because what Java is doing, Java is first printing out A and then increasing it after printing out. So actually my A has become 10, but I don't see it in the console. How am I gonna see it? If I print out the A again, I will see that A has been changed into 10. The reason is because Java is reading from left side and it prints out A and then it increase, and I will see 9. So since after printing out Java increased the A, the next time I see the A is going to be 10. Now I will check it out the pre-increment. I will create another variable which is 100, and then I will print out that like ++b. In this case, since Java starts executing reading from the left side, it will increase the value, then print out the value. So I will see 101 in the console. And if I print out the B again, the value is going to be still same. So writing down in the right side or left side matters. Same thing for decrement operators. I will write down everything same for the decrement operator. Let's copy this, paste here, and change the variable's name. I will do it minus minus and minus minus and run this program. As you can see, my values are starting from 9, which is C, because I did like C minus minus, and I see the 9 first thing, and Java decrease it by 1, and I solve the C again, it becomes 8. Same thing for D. First, Java decrease the number, then print it out. So I see 99 in the console and the 99 in the console again. So these are pre and post increment and decrement operators. I want to get back to our operators class again and keep doing other kind of operators. And we have relational operators in Java. Relational operators are equal sign, and this operator checks if the two values in the left side and right side are equal or not. If they are equal, this operator is given true value. And we have exclamation mark and equal sign. This is checking if left side and right side are not equal. And if those two values are not equal, this expression gives me true value. If the left side and right side are equal, this expression is giving me false value. We have greater sign. This greater sign check if the left side is greater than right side. If this is true, this expression giving me a true value. And we have less than, greater than equal to, and less than equal to. So let's get back to our Eclipse and make some examples. First of all, I would like to write down all the relational operators in here. Let's make some examples. System out println. 6 equals 7. If I run this code, I will see false because 6 is not equal to 7. If I change it and make both sides equal, I will have true. Let's make one example for each of them. I will change it into exclamation mark or equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than or equal to. I will run this code and I will see different kind of values. First is true because 7 is equal to 7. Exclamation mark equal is giving me false because 7 is equals to 7. But this operator checks if they are not equals to. If they are not equals to, it's going to give me true value. And greater than is giving me false. Less than is giving me false because 7 is not less than 7, right? Greater or equal to give me true. Less than or equal to giving me true. Instead of numbers, we can use variables. I'm going to create two variables. And I will assign them differently. And I will use these codes and change the numbers into variables. And see, when I run this code, I will see a bunch of true or false values according to their equivalency. So these are my relational operators. And we will get back to our slide and discover some other new operators. As you can see, we have other kind of operators, which is called assignment operators. In these operators, we are going to use plus equal to or minus equal to, multiplication or equal to, division or equal to, modulus equal to, or just equal to. So these are basically assigning variables or values. Let's make some examples about them. For assignment operators, I'm going to create another class. For assignment operators, I'm going to create two variables. I will assign them differently. Number one is going to be 90, and number two is going to be 70. I will print out the number one. So after I print out number one, I will change the number one and I will change it into number two equals num2. And I will print out the number one again. and let's see how it is changing. As you can see, number 1 was 90 in the first printout method, and it became 70. Why? Because I changed number 1 into number 2. So this equal sign is assigned my number 1 into number 2. Well, basically it changed the 90 into 70. And then I have 70 after this changing. So this is my first assignment operator, which is equal sign. Let's check it out the second operator, which is plus equal to. And let's create two other variables for them. It's going to be number 3 and integer number 4. And let's assign them to another different numbers like 10 and 20. And what I'm going to do is I will write down number 3 plus equal to number 4. Before that, I will print out number 3 just like I did in the number 1. And after this calculation, I will print out this number 3 again and see how it is changed. As you can see, number 3 is 10. And after I change this number 3 into another number, it became 30. So what happened here? Actually, what happened is my number 3 is assigned into number 3 plus number 4. So these two expressions are same thing. My number 3 changed into number 3 plus number 4, which is 10 plus 20 is equals to 30. I will do another examples for minus equals, multiplication equals, and division equals. Let's create another example for minus or equal to, but first I'm going to write down what this plus and equal to is doing. It assigns left side into left side plus right side. And I will copy this definition and I will change it into minus equals. It assigns left side into left side minus right side. And I will create another variables for them. Integer number 5, which is equals to 90. Integer number 6, which is equals to 80. Let's print out number 5 one time. And let's make this number 5 minus equals to number 6. And I will print out number 5 again and run this program. My number 5 is going to change into 10 because it becomes number 5 minus number 6. Same thing for multiply or equal to and division by or equal to. So I will copy everything. I will change it into multiply or equal to, and it assigns left side into left side times right side. Change these variables into 7 and 8. Numbers can stay same. I will print out number 7. As you can see, my number changed into left side times right side. So 90 times 80 is equals to 7200. So the same thing for division or equal to. And let's run this program. And as you can see, 90 and 1. So this number is integer value. In order to see the double value of it, I will write down double and run this program again, and I will see 1.125, which is more precise answer. So thank you so much, guys, and see you at another tutorial. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial, we are going to learn narrowing casting and widening casting in Java. So let's get started. In this slide, you can see two rectangles, and these two rectangles represent different data types. One of them is double and other is integer. In this problem, we are going to try to put our big rectangle inside of the smaller rectangle. In other words, we are going to try to assign the bigger variable into the smaller variable. So let's check our Eclipse. In this example, we are going to learn narrowing casting. So I'm going to create a double variable, and this double variable is going to be named as GPA and will be assigned to 3.8. And after that, we are going to create one integer variable, which is going to be named as GPA1 and will be assigned to GPA. But if I assign this variable to GPA, I will get an error, and in order to get rid of this error, I will click on this link. And this link is going to narrowcast my GPA. It was 3.8 and it was a double data type, but right now inside of the parentheses I write down integer, so int, and it became an integer type. And when I print this out, instead of 3.8, you will see in the console as 3. So why that become 3? Because I narrowcast it. I basically cut the decimal point. Since I cut the decimal point, my number is no longer double, it became an integer. And integers cannot hold pointed numbers, cannot hold decimal pointed numbers. So I will do the same example for float type. Let's create a float type here. And my float name is going to be my float. And I will assign it to, let's see, 7.88. So please remember, in order to assign a float, we are adding f. And I will assign this float inside of the integer, and I'm going to create my integer type, which is my integer, and I will try to assign my float. If I do that again, I will have an error. So how are we going to get rid of this error? As clicking on this link. And it will add a parenthesis and integer automatically. And when I print this out, I will see, instead of 788, I will see 7. And after that, I will print out my float also. So what happened to my float? We will see right now. System.println my float. And this is going to be equal to 7.88. So what happens right now, guys? We basically assigned our smaller variables into bigger variables. And in order to do that, we used narrowing casting. We basically put some parentheses and data types in it in order to narrowcast our variables. So what about the widening casting, guys? In order to do widening casting, I have good news. We don't need to do anything because everything is happening automatically. We will do some examples right now. I will basically, let me finish this comment. I will basically create one integer variable which is going to be named as my integer, and it will be equal to 90. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'll create another variable which is double. It's going to be named as my double, and I will assign this double into my integer. So let's do that. My integer. As you can see, I have no error, and when I try to print this my double, I will see in the console, let's check it out. Basically I will see 90.0 and my integer is going to be 90. But before check it out, I will create one more example. So integer number 1 equals 3 and integer number 2 equals 6, and inside of the system.println method I will write down number 1 divided by number 2. Before running, let's check what's gonna happen in the console. So let's check out. Okay guys, so now my double became 90.0. My integer was already 90, and in this example, when we try to divide 3 into 6, we have 0. Why it is happening? Because all the calculation inside of the system.println becomes integer, and in order to see the real value, I need to upcast it, and then I will see 0.5. And we can see right now how important is casting in Java. So right now you can also write down these codes in your Eclipse. So thank you so much guys, and see you at another video. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial we are going to learn AND and OR operator in Java. So let's get started. In this slide, as you can see, we are declaring a Boolean data type, and we are printing out that in the console. So let's check this table. We have AND and OR operator. These zeros represent false and these ones representing true. In different condition, in AND and OR operator, these true and false are getting different values. Let's check out this slide also. In this slide we made some examples, and there are some combinations with false and true values, and we are using AND and OR operator. So these two AND character means AND operator, and these two upward slash means OR operator. So in the different combination we have different examples. We will do one example from each in the Eclipse. Let's go to our Eclipse. So let's get started. I will type in the definition of Boolean OR and AND operators. So Boolean logic OR and AND. Well, AND operator is two AND character. In this case, if left side and right sides are both true, the whole expression is going to be true. In the OR operator, I am using two upward slash. In this operator, if one of the sides are true, then the whole expression is going to be true. Let's write down system.println, but not here. Okay, let's in the down. I will write down system.println true and true, and I will copy this and write down the combination of true and falses in the below, and I will change the true and false values one by one. It's gonna be true and false, false and true, and it is going to be false and false. In this case, I will write down in the right side what the expression is gonna be like. True and true is true, true and false is false. Let me write down all of them. True and false are false, false and false is false. So why that happened? Because as I said, in the AND operator, if one of the sides are false, then the whole expression is going to be false. Otherwise, it is going to be true. Well, true and true is true, true and false is false, false and true is false, and false is false. I copied and I will write down the OR combination of all of these examples. If it's too fast, guys, you can pause the video and check this out. But before pausing the video, I will change the expression in the right side. True or true is going to be equal to true. True or false is going to be equal to true, because if one of the sides are true, the whole expression is going to be true. Same thing for false and true, and false and false is going to be false. So these are combinations, guys, and what I'm going to do is I will create Boolean variable, and we will try these combinations with Boolean variable. Well, Boolean username true, Boolean password is going to be false. This is my condition, and what I'm gonna do is I will write down username, which is true value, and instead of true or false value, I'm going to write down password. So username and password. Since username is true and password is false, true and false is going to be equal to false. So let's write down one more example. Alright, I combined those four values. So username, password, false and true. Actually not false and true, false or true. In this case, if one of the sides are true and I have OR operator, the whole expression is going to be true. So this is going to be inside of the parenthesis is going to be true, password is false. So if I have AND operator and false value, the whole expression is going to be false. And you can see the values in the console. So thank you so much, guys, and see you at another tutorial. Hi everyone, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial, we are going to learn if blocks in Java. We are going to learn this topic under conditional decision making programs. So let's get started. I created my if blocks class here, and I will write down some codes, system.out.println, and inside I will write down hello Silicon Labs. As you guys know that if I try to print this out, I will see in the console this message. But today we are going to learn some new techniques that I will surround this code with some blocks, which we're going to call if blocks. And if the if blocks conditions are true, then I will be able to see this message. So let me write down if blocks creates conditional programs. And let's surround this with if block, guys. In order to start that, I will just create another line here. Let's click on enter. Okay, I write down if and one parenthesis, and I will surround my system.out.println message with open and close curly brackets. And inside of the parenthesis, I'm going to write down Boolean condition such as false. And if I try to print out this message right now, if I try to run this, I'm not gonna see anything in the console. Right now I will change this false into true and run it again, and I will see the message. That's how my if blocks are working. Depending on the condition inside the parentheses, I will either see the message or not. So let me write down that. Parentheses only accepts Boolean expressions. So I am creating another if block, and in this case I will assign my if block. So in this case, as a condition, I will use a Boolean expression. So my Boolean variable, my Boolean equals false, and I will take this my Boolean variable and put it inside of my if block condition. So now I am using Boolean variable as a condition. And if I write down system.println hello from inside of the second block, and since my Boolean expression is false, then if I run this program, I'm not gonna see the message in the console. In order to see the message, I need to change my variable value into true, then I will be able to see the message. Let's change it into a true and try again, and I will see hello from inside of the second if block. So this is how I use my Boolean variable as a condition. Now I'm going to write down what did I use as a condition in each if block. In the first one I use true and false, and in the second one I use Boolean variable. I'm going to write down it as condition as a Boolean, and in the third one I will use expressions, so condition as an expression. For this I will create two integer variables, integer a and integer b. As a first thing, they are going to be assigned as differently, 5 and 9, and I am creating my if block, and inside my if block as a condition I will use a equals b, and system.println I will write down a plus inside a string is equals to and plus b. So in this example right now, if my a and b are equal, then I will see this message. But if you can see, a and b are different, so I don't see any message in the console. But if I change it into 9 and make them same, when I run it, 9 is equals to 9. So right now I am seeing that because a equals to b is true. So this is my expression as a condition. So let's create another if block, and in this time I'm going to again use condition as an expression, and I will create two Boolean variables, my Boolean 2, and I will assign this into true, and my Boolean 3. So one is true and one is false right now, and I am creating my if block. I will say if my Boolean 2, I can use any operation here. I will use the operation of AND, so my Boolean 2 and my Boolean 3, and system.println hello from inside of the fourth if block. That's ready. When I run this program, I will see 9 is equal to 9. Well, I am changing my Boolean 3, try again, and I am not seeing this right now. I am seeing this message. I can try to do another expression such as AND true, and inside of the parentheses I can write down true or false. So true or false is true, and true is going to be true. So I will see this message, and you can change this expression as whatever as you want. Alright, thank you so much guys, and see you at another tutorial. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial we are going to learn if and else blocks together. So let's get started. I created my class if else blocks class. I will start to write down my if else blocks. First I created my if block, and I have one condition, and I will set it as true. And as everyone knows that if my condition is true and if I print out some value, what I'm gonna see in the console is gonna be this message or any code that I write down here. If I change it into false, then I'm not gonna see the message anymore. Now we will add else blocks, and our else blocks is going to work if my if blocks conditions are false. So let's create it, else, and I will write down inside something of my else blocks, system.println, I will write down hello from inside of the else block. I write down my message, and if I run this program, since my if block condition is false, I will see hello world from inside of the else block. If I change my if block condition into true, by the way, let me write down this hello world from if block. Now let's change the condition into true. Then my else block is not going to work anymore, but my if block is going to start to work. So as we can see here, either if or else block are going to be executed, not both of them at the same time. So guys, I use just directly true or false keyword, but instead of true or false, I can create a boolean variable, and I can also use my boolean variable instead of or false value. My boolean is going to be equal to true. Then instead of my true value here, I will use my boolean variable, and if I do that, when run the program, since my boolean variable is true, I will see hello world from if block. I'm not gonna see my else block anymore. But if my boolean variable would be false, then I will not see if block anymore. I will see the else block. As you can see, depending on true or false, either if or else block is working. And I will create another example. I want to create two variables. One is integer a and the other is integer b. I assign them differently, and here I will use an expression as a condition. I created my if else block. It's created automatically if you write down if, so you will see in the drop down menu. And it came with boolean variable automatically, but I'm gonna erase it and say a equals to b, and system out println I will say variable a is equals to variable b, and inside of the else block I'm going to write down variable a is not equal to variable b, because as a condition I have a equals b, and if a is not equal to b, I will see that variable is not equal to b. But if I assign these two integer variables as same, then my condition is going to be true, and I will see my variable a is equal to variable b, and there you go. Now I would like to create a program with using if else blocks, and I will have one integer as age, and this program will check the integer of age, and if my age is greater than or equals to 18, then my program is gonna say that my age is valid. Now I created my if and else blocks, and let me write down this. Program will check for age, and if age is greater than or equal to 18, then my program is gonna say that, or it will print out, let me write down that also, it will print out valid age. Otherwise, this program is going to write down it will print out invalid age. So I have two conditions. Let's write down these conditions. I have my if block. I will change the condition. If age is greater than or equal to 18, then this expression is going to be turned true, and I will print out age is valid. So I'm printing out in the else block, it says like this is not a valid age. And if I run this program, since my age is 17, then it's going to say this is not a valid age. I am changing my integer age, and it's 19 right now. It's greater than 18, and it says this is a valid age. I can modify this program a little bit, and instead of this is a age, or instead of this is, I will just directly write down the age variable, and whatever the age variable is, I will see that. If I run this program, I will see 19 is a valid age, and if I change the age into something else, such as 12, I will see 12 is not a valid age. So my age variable is also has been printed out in the console. Now I will create another program. We change my integer value, and it's printed out the double of this integer value. By double means it's gonna multiply it with 2, so my integer into double. And if the condition is not true, then it changed my variable into triple. In another word, it's going to multiply it with 3. So in order to create this program, I need to have one integer number. In order to create this program, I need to have one variable, and I would like to name it actually number. Integer number is going to be equal to 9, and I have my boolean variable, and I will name it as check, and this boolean variable is going to be used as condition. I create my if else block, and check is going to my condition, and check is true. So now my if condition is going to work, and I will change my number into number times 2, and I will print out this number, because in the question it says like that. If the condition is true, double, and if the condition is false, I will change my number into triple, and I will print this out. As you can see, my number turned into triple, and It's been printed out, and I will run this program and see 18 in the console. If I change this boolean into false, then run it, I will see 27. After printing that out, I can print this number after if-else condition, then I will see 27. So my number was initially 9, but inside of the if-else blocks, I change my number, and depending on if or else condition, then my number changed into 27 and 18, and after this code my number has been changed into 18 or 27. So inside of my if-else blocks I can also change my number. Thank you so much guys, and see you at another tutorial. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial we are going to learn else if blocks in Java, and we are going to insert this else if block between my if blocks and else blocks. So let's get started. I created my else if block class, and I will write down one if block here. My if block condition is going to be true, and I know that if my condition is true, my message right now, if block, is going to be executed and it will be shown up in the console. So I see the message if block, and if I change this condition to false, then my message is going to be false. Else block system.println, and I will write down else block, and since my if condition is false, I will see else block in console, change the condition, and message is going to be changed. So this is my if and else blocks. Now we are going to learn the third block, which is else if. And else if block, they look like if blocks, but before if we have like else. So we are going to write down basically else keyword and if keyword. Actually we don't need to do that, I created automatically else if. And we have condition, as you can see. Before the condition I'm going to write down else if block and change the condition into false. So right now I have my if block as true, else if block as false, and I have else block. If I run this program, I will see if block in the console. So I have three options here, three blocks. In any case, only one of the blocks is going to be executed. I will never see two blocks is being executed at the same time in the if, else if, and else blocks. I copied these codes and paste. So right now I have my second block, and from the second block also one of the blocks are going to be executed. So my if block is false, my else if block is false, and in this case my else block is going to be executed, and in the second message, as you can see, else block. So in the console the first message comes from the first if, else if, and else blocks, and the second message comes from the second if, else if, and else blocks. Okay guys, so focus on the second message right now, and the second message comes from else block. So I'm going to write down these blocks prints else block. Alright, just to make sure that you're not going to be confused with the other message. So I will copy and paste the another if block. So I have if, else if, and else, but for now both of if block and else block conditions are true, and these blocks is going to print out, they will print out if block. So why that so? Because my if block right now is true, and when my program finds out that if condition is true, then it print out the if condition and stop the blocks, so it's not checking them anymore. And right now I copy and paste other if, else, if and else blocks. I will change my conditions, false, true, and these blocks are going to print out the else if block. Why? Because my first condition is false, then my Java is going to check for other condition, which is else if condition, and it's true, and it will print that out, and it will not check the else block anymore because it encountered the one true condition. So only one of these blocks are going to be executed. This is so important, and the first true condition is going to be executed. So right now you will see in this example we have if, else if, and I am adding one more else if blocks, and I will specify that this is the second else if block and the first one is the first one, and I have my if block and I have my else block. Now since the if condition has true and the else if condition is false, I will change this into true, and I will change else if condition into true, and all of them is true. Please remember the rule that the first true condition is going to be executed. So the first true condition block is going to be executed, and we can add as many else if as we need. So right now as many. So first true condition block will be executed, and let me document this also. We will print out this if block, and this block prints if block because the first true condition is in if block. Even though my else if conditions are true, they are not going to be executed. So now I will make another example, guys. I am writing down integer 100. So why did I write that? Because I want to create a program which checks the numbers sign and prints the sign as an output. If number is 0, it will print out that your number is 0. If the number is positive, then my program is print out that your number is positive. And if the number is negative, my program will print that your number is negative. And I have 3 conditions, so I need 3 blocks. I will check my number 1. I'm creating my first if block, and the second is else if block, and the third one is going to be else block. Let's say if my number is equals to 0, how am I going to write down that? Non-variable equal sign and 0. I will say system.println your number is 0. Let's say if number is not 0 but it's greater than 0. In this case I know that if the number is greater than 0, it is positive. So write down that your number is positive. And in else block I have, well, my number can be 0, can be greater than 0, and what's the another option? It can be less than 0, right? There is no other option. So in this case I need to write down inside of my system.println your number is negative. Since my number is 0, in the console I will say your number is 0. If I change my number into another one, such as -9, it will print out your number is negative. If I change it into 100, I will see your number is positive. So my program checks my number and it shows me if it's positive or negative. We will create another example, guys. So this example, this program is like a grade checking program. And we will basically convert our numeric grading into ladder grading. So let's write the rules how we are going to do that. I'm going to create multi-line command. I will say that, well, my ladder grade is going to be A if my numeric grade is between 90 and 100. My ladder grade is going to be B if my numeric grade is between 80 and 89. My ladder grade is going to be C if my numeric grade is between 70 and 79. I will get D if 60 and 69, if my numeric grade is between 60 and 69, and F if my numeric grade is between 0 and 59. Numeric grade is equals to 85, and I will have my string ladder grade. So this ladder grade is going to change according to my numeric grade, and as a first thing I am initializing it with empty string. So right now it has nothing, but depending on my program, depending on my numeric value, it's going to get some ladder grade. So this is empty because we don't know yet. So let's start what is going to be my string ladder grade. In order to find it, I'm going to create if block, and I will say that if my numeric grade is greater than or equal to 90, I will say that my ladder grade is going to be A. And we will have another condition, such as if my let's say if my numeric grade is greater than or equal to 80. So if my numeric grade is greater than or equal to 80, then I will say that my ladder grade is going to be B, and I will have another block which is if my numeric grade is greater than or equal to 70, then my ladder grade is going to be C. Another else if block, if numeric grade is greater than or equal to 60, then my ladder grade is going to be D. And I will have, as a last thing, I will have else if my grade is less than 60. I will say your ladder grade is F. So guys, A, B, C, D and F is okay. If you ask me why we don't have condition in else, because if our numeric grade is not greater than 85 or 80 or 70 or 60, then that means my numeric grade is less than 60. Then in this case I will get F, and I will print out your ladder grade is ladder grade. And when I print this out, since my grade is 85, my ladder grade is going to be changed into B. So initially my ladder grade was empty string, but at the end of the like after the if else if blocks, my letter grade changed into B. If I made my numeric grade 99, my letter is going to be A. And if I change it into some lower grade such as 15, it is going to be F. So this is my if and else if example. Thank you so much guys, and I will see you at another tutorial. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Çantürk. In this tutorial, we are going to learn switch case statements. Switch case statements are one of the conditional decision making program, and we are going to make some examples today. So let's get started. Let's remember how were the if else blocks were working. In the if else block, only one block was working, and as long as I first time see the true condition, my program starts to work. And if there is no true condition, else statement is going to work. And as you remember, else blocks doesn't have conditions. Let's make one example. I will create one integer x which is equals to 90. So I will change this integer x according to the conditions on my if else blocks. I created my if else block and I have condition inside of my parentheses. I created my else if condition, and the first thing I'm going to do is my if condition is going to be false, and I will say that if condition is true, then change my x into 100, which is false. Right now my if condition is false, that means it's not going to be changed. So as if I'm writing down the else if condition, I'm saying that 9 equals 8 or 6 less than 9, and in that case let's change my x into 102, and in my else block I will say x equal to 101. So as we know guys, right now my if condition is false and my else if condition is true, and my else condition, we don't have condition. If I run this program, since my else if condition is true, my x is being changed into 102, and when I print out that at the end of the program, I will see 102. And if I change the if condition to true, I will see 100. So right now my else if and if conditions are both true, but I am seeing only the first true condition in the console. So let's talk about what's the difference between if, else and switch case blocks. Well, in switch case I have option to print out which codes in different blocks, and in switch case, instead of conditions, we have switch case blocks, which is using key and value equality. Other thing to know is we will use keys in switch cases, and these keys can be integer, character or string types. Other kind of types is not allowed in switch cases. So I am creating my character key here, and it will be equal to y. And now I'm starting to write down my switch case blocks. And instead of this key in the parentheses, I will write down my key that I created, which is character key. And I have values right next to the cases. And I will say that as long as these keys and values are equal, then my case statements are going to be executed. So now I will change my value. So I will write down z here, and let's say if my character key is equal to z, I will print out this, and if my character is not z, then I will print out key is something else. If you realize that this program is working like if else blocks, if my case is wrong, then my default block is working. So now the key is Z. Well, there's a break statement, and if I erase these break statements, something different is going to happen when I run this program. Like the both blocks are going to execute it. This is a different from if-else blocks. If you remember, in if-else blocks, only one of the blocks were executing, but in the switch cases, we are able to print out all the blocks at the same time. Well, of course, it is the case if the value is the same with the case. Well, I'm adding one more case here, and this is going to be value of Z, and I will print out something. By the way, don't forget the column here, and system out println. I'll print out key is Z. So when I run this program, I will see key is Y, Z, and something else. That happened because the first case is true, then all the blocks are being executed, and I'm seeing all the blocks at the console. When I make my values totally different, my default blocks is being executed and it says key is something else. Now I'm going to change my key into A, which is the first, like the second case, and if it is wrong, if it is correct, like the equal, my key is Z and something else is going to be print out. So I will change these case names so it's going to be more clear. So case 1, case 2, and default. When I run this program again, I will see that case 2 and default is being showing up in the console. The reason is because my key was A. Now I'm changing, and since the key, the first case is true, then all the cases are being flowed in the console. And if I change the key, I'll see only default because none of the case values are equal. So that's how switch keys are working. You can also try to change the keys and values, and then you can see how the switch keys are working. So cases are starting to execute, right? Like cases are starting to execute from the first equal case, so all the way down to the default case. Well, the break keyword is killing the switch case execution. By killing, of course, I mean stopping it, right? This is like the break keyword is stopping the switch case execution flow. So I will make an example right now. Let's insert the break. Before, I'm going to change the case value, like the key, and now everything is in the console. All the values are in the console, but if I insert break in the first case and run this program, only case 1 is going to be executed. Well, because since my program encountered with the break keyword, it stopped working. And when I'm changing it to A, well, after A case, there's no break keyword, so I can see 2 execution block. But if I insert break here, then I will be only see case 2. Alright, if I erase this break, then I will see both of them. So this is how the break keyword affects the program. Let me insert the break keyword. And there you go. Let's keep going. I will create another example. Before that, I'm going to comment this program so that I will not see any output from the previous program. And I will start to write down my program first. The creation of integer, I will say like integer key equals 7. This is going to be my key, and I am creating like switch case values, switch case blocks. Now I'm copying this integer key into my switch parentheses, and values are going to be changed. They need to be integer. Let me multiply this case and print out more. So case 7 and case 4. System out println. This is going to be case 1, and the other is going to be case 2. And in the default, I will print out default. Now when I run this program, I will see only default because my integer key is not equal to any value. But if I change it into 7, I will see case 2. As you can see, my switch case program is working with integer keys. And we can put as many keys as we want to the program. Well, since no values were equal to the key, my default is being executed. Now guys, we are going to create a program. So we will use switch case program, and this switch case program is going to ask the user for number between 1 to 7, and depending on the number, different name of the days will appear in the console. For example, if the user put 1, well, Monday is going to be appear. If the user put 7, Sunday is going to be appear in the console. So we are going to use scanner object for this. I created my scanner object, and I will ask the user for please enter the number of the day. So I need to create a printer method, and after that I will create one integer key, and this integer key is going to be the value which is coming from the scanner object. Next thing is creating my switch case blocks. When I write switch, the Eclipse is helping me out to create the switch cases, and I will copy this case and paste multiple times. And if we click on Command Shift F, it's formatting the codes in the good format. Now I will change my key and values. Values are going to be the integers from 1 to 7, and my output is going to be system out printed on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. When I run the program, I will see the question, and when I put 2, I will see Tuesday. When I put 5, I will see Friday, and when I put other numbers, I will see other days. So thank you so much guys. This is all about switch cases, and see you at another tutorial. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. Today we are going to learn string methods in Java. So let's get started. I created my class and I listed all the methods that we are going to use in this tutorial. You can find it in the below. So I will go over all of these methods one by one. In order to reach out a method and in order to use a method in Java, we are going to create variables and we are going to use the string by itself. I would like to start with an example. The first method we are going to use is going to be length, and length method is going to help me to find out the length of the strings. The first string that I'm going to create is my name, Ahmet Can Türk, and I will use my method inside of system.out.println method in order to see the length. I'm writing down the name variable and clicking on that. When you click on that, you will see a bunch of list of methods. I will choose the length, and when I run this program, this length method is going to return me the length of my string. So the length means basically the number of characters, and it's giving me 14. So my name variable holding 14 characters. We can do the same thing for not using variable. We are just going to use the string by itself and click on dot, and again you will see the list of the methods. I will choose the length and run this program, and you will see 13. The next method that we are going to use is we are going to use two uppercase methods. And in order to use this uppercase method, again we will create one variable. So this uppercase method makes all my string letters uppercase. My string variable is going to be hello world. I will again use this method inside of the system.out.println method, and string1 dot to uppercase. This method is going to make all my letters uppercase. Let's try another thing like hello world as a string, and we can use to uppercase. I will have the same effect on my string. Next thing is to lowercase. As you can assume that to lowercase method is going to make my string letters all lowercase. I created my variable I love Java, and I will use string2 dot to lowercase, and it will make all my strings characters lowercase. So as you can see, I and J change it into lowercase. Again, since I can use this method with variable, I can also use it with normal string. So again, I'm going to write down I love Java with some letters uppercase, and if I want to make all the things lowercase, I will do that. The next method I'm going to use is substring. So the substring method is a little bit different than other, because this method is going to use parameters. So the parameters are the values that I'm going to put down, like put inside of these parentheses of the method. First string is ready. It's Java standard edition, and system out println string3 dot substring. And when you write down substring, you will see some words inside of the method parentheses. These are parameters, and it asks for beginning index and end index. These are basically the place of the characters in the string. So I am saying that take the piece of this string and start from index number 2, and index number 2 to the index number 9, take this and print it out. So as you can see, my substring method is printing out the characters which is between 2 and 9 index number. By the way, just keep in mind that in Java we are always start count from 0 as we are counting down the index numbers. So the J is the index number of 0, and I will start count from there. So I am making another example, integrated development kit, and I will click on dot, and I will use substring, and in the substring I would like to give 0 to the 4. So start from index number 0 all the way to the 4, and in this case I will see this piece which is INTE. So the 0 is I and 4 is the last point, which is E. Again, another variable string3 that substring beginning index is going to be, so right now this substring is only using one parameter, so I can use my substring method with 1 or 2 parameter. And now if I give the number of 4, this will take only the characters which is after 4. So as you can see, after 4 I have space standard edition, and if I change it into 5, I will not take the space, and I will have the rest of it. I will see standard edition. If you change the number, you can see how the output is changing. I will have another method which is char_add, and in this char_add method I'm going to create another variable. It's going to be named as string4, and I will assign it into Java standard edition again. This character add method gives me the character value of the specific index number. I'm using it inside a println method in order to see the message in the console. So string4 dot char_add, you will see it asks for index number. I will put 5, and it will return me the character at index number 5, which is right now S. Run this and you will see S. If you change it into another number, you will see another character. I will put 0. 0 is going to be return J, and I can use this method with, along with the variable, I can use it with string itself. Let's write down Java Standard Edition, click on dot, char add, and put 7. Run this program and you will see A. This is my char add method. And the next thing we are going to learn is equals method. Let's write it down. Equals. Again, I will create a variable which is going to be named as string 6. It's going to be equal to, it's going to be string 5, and it's going to be equal to Eclipse, and system out println string 5 equals, so string 5 dot equals Eclipse. My equals method check if those two values are same, and if they are same, it will return me true. So the equals value is checking the equality of the strings. I will try in different example. I will write down Ahmed, or let's write down Eclipse, but I will use the lowercase and dot equals with uppercase Eclipse. In this case, these are not equal right now, and it will return me false. Alright guys, so this is my equals method, and actually I can check the strings if they are equal or not, and I can ignore the case. So in this case I will use equals ignore case method, and I'll create another variable which is string 6 equals, I will assign my name, and I will use a println method string 6 equals ignore case. I will put inside of the parameter as all uppercase Ahmed. So character meanings are same, but cases are false. But right now it's giving me true because it doesn't care about case. So another example, Ahmed equals ignore case with uppercase Ahmed, and it will return me true. Another method that I'm going to show you guys is contains. This contains method is returning again true or false depending on the character which I'm looking for. So let's check the example. I will create string 7. I will assign a name as John, and system out println string 7 that contains. So contains method also asks for parameters as character. I will put with the double quote, this is important, I'll put X. If my string contains X, then it will return true. If it's not containing X, it will return false. So now in this case, my string John doesn't contain X, so the answer, the output is going to be false. And if I look for another character such as J, it will return me true because I have the J. So you can try different kind of letters for characters and check if your string contains it or not. The next method we are going to use is index of. Index of method is also asked for parameter. Let's create our variable as vain. System out println string 8 dot index of the character A. In this index of character I am using single quote. So because I am checking for character, and it will give me the index number of this specific character. Now it gives me -1 because I don't have D. So if you are looking for some values which is not inside of your string, it will give you random numbers. If I look for another value which is like w, it will give me 0. So if my character that I'm looking for is not inside of my string, it will give me negative values. If they are in my string, it will give me 0 or positive values. Let's check it with another string, Hollywood, and check for index of one character. I'm going to check for D, and D is all the way end. It will give me 8. If you count it, you will find that D is in index number 8. Another method, which is I believe very important method, is replace. I'll create a variable string9 equals Java, and with using this replace method we will replace some specific characters with some other specific characters. What do I mean by that? Println method string9 replace. Well, all character and new characters are my parameters. I will replace all the J's with L. So all the capital J's are going to be replaced by capital L, and I will see lava in the console. I can also combine my method with another method. So I can use two methods in a row. And in this case, I will replace all the V with P. So lava is going to return into V is going to turn into P. So it's going to be lapa. And I can see this lapa. You can add as many methods as you want, but it's important that it shouldn't make a logical mistake or logical error. Now I'm looking for car at 2, and it's run this, and in the 2, index number of 2, I have P. The next method we are going to create is concat. The concatenate method, this concat method is concatenating the variables. Concatenating means putting those strings side by side. So string 10 is going to be hello, and string 11 is going to be world. Actually, between those strings I'm going to create another string. I will assign it as string 11, and it will have space. And let's change this string 11 into 12, and there you go. We have string 10, 11 and 12. Hello space world. What I'm going to do is, the first thing, I'm going to concatenate those string 10 and 11 with using concat method. So string 10 dot concat string 12. So in this case, I will put this hello and world side by side, and output is going to be hello world. And there is no space between them, as you can see. In the next line, I'm going to concatenate all these three variables. So string 10 dot concatenate, inside a parenthesis I'm going to write down string 11, and I will combine these methods, concatenate string 12, and when I run this program, I will see in the output hello world with the space. So there are three strings concatenated in this example. Alright guys, thank you so much, and I will see you guys in another tutorial. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial we are going to learn what is array and how to create an array and how to print out array in Java. So let's get started. Let's check this slide. Well, arrays are basically single variables that can hold multiple values of the same type. If you remember regular primitive data types, we were able to hold only one value at a time, but with using array, I will be able to hold multiple values of the same type in my array variables. Here you can see one example of array. In order to create an array, we are using array data type like integer here, and as After that we are writing down the variable like the array name, and in order to create an array we are using square bracket equals to, this square bracket is very important, and new keyword is creating an object, and we are writing down integer 4, which is the size of the array. And after creating that we are assigning the values one by one at the bottom. So k0 equals 10, for example. K0 is the lowest index number, while we are creating counting the index number from 0. So we always start to count from 0, and this is the 0, and the index number 1 equals 20, 30 and 40. So k3 is the highest index number. This is how my array looks like in the back side of the Java. If we are creating 4 elements array, we are basically creating a row of the table, and we are assigning these values to the row of the table. So the index number is 0 is 10, and the index number 1 is 20. As you can see, index number 2 is 30, and index number 3 is 40. There are another ways to declare the array. First of all, we have integer square bracket numbers equal new integer. Instead of giving a size, we are just assigning the values in this right side, or we can directly assign the values with not using integer or new keyword after the equal sign. And again, we still have the same row in the backside of the Java. So index number 0, 1, 2. And of course we can create all data type of arrays. There's no limit. We can create string, integer, double or byte. You can name it, like it can be any kind of data type. So here the 0 Ahmed, 1 Cemil and 2 Ilhan. This is what my elements are in my string array. Alright, so what's gonna happen if I try to print out the index number which doesn't exist in my array? For example, in the bottom, as you can see, we are printing out k0, which is gonna bring me 10 as an output, and 3 is gonna give me 40, but 4 doesn't exist in my array, so it's gonna give me array index out of bound exception. Because the highest index number is 3, but I'm trying to print out 0 is going to be okay, like 3 is going to be okay, but 4 is not going to be okay because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in my array. Like the k, like 4 index number is too much. It's out of the bounds. Alright, I created my array class. By the way, important message is don't name your class as array or arrays, because it's going to create a problem, because Java already have array and arrays class in its API, so it will have a problem. It will give you guys a problem. So name your class something else. Now I'm going to write down the formula of declaring array. So we are writing down the data type, array name, and square bracket equals new data type, and again square bracket and the length of the array. I am starting to create my array. I will do integer type, and name is going to be my array. Square bracket equals to new integer, and I will assign the size. So I bring it to 4, so it's going to be only hold 4 elements. And what I'm going to do is I will assign values to my array one by one. I will start with 0, my array square bracket 0, and it will have a value of 1, and I will assign the others one by one. So my array 1 is the next index element, 2 and 3 is going to be my last index element. As you can see guys, my array 4, I try to assign my array 4, but highest index number is 3, but I'm trying to assign 4. So even though my array is 4 elements, I'm trying to add the 5th element. Let's see what's going to happen. I am having index out of bound exception, because if my array is 4 elements, the size of the array is 4, I can only put 4 elements. Now I'm erasing to get rid of the problem, and there's no problem right now. I'm trying to print out my array as writing down the array name. Let's see what's gonna happen. As you can see, guys, if I am trying to print out the array by using the variable name, it will give me some garbage data. Actually, it's not garbage data, it's a memory location. Just keep that in mind, and just like that. In order to see the values, I need to give the specific index number to Java. Then I can see the numbers. But otherwise, no. So I'm copy and paste, and I am trying to print out all the values in the console. And now you can see I am printing out all the values in the console. So all the elements right now in the console. Okay guys, this is how we are printing out the array elements one by one. There's another way, guys, to print out the elements in Java. I will say print all array elements in one line. In order to do that, I'm using one special method, which is arrays.toString, and I'm going to write them inside my array. And when I print this out, I will see the value in the console. I will see all the elements in one line. The important thing here is these are the second thing, that it's in one line. They are string, but like if I print out the elements one by one, they are integer here. So even though my numbers look like numbers, they are string. I'm creating another array, integer my array, square bracket equals new integer 4. So next thing is print the element without initializing. So I will print the elements without initializing to any value, and in that way I can see default values of the integer array elements. And the default values of the integer array elements are 0. Now I am printing out the my array to 0, which is the first index number, and this is the second index number, and I'm going to multiply it by 2 and 3. Now we will be able to see all the default values of the arrays before initializing, and now everything is 0 because we didn't assign any value. Let's print out the array elements in one line with using toString method, and we can see elements in one line, and as you can see all of them is 0. Now the third way to create an array is we can directly assign the values. So we directly assign the values, and as you can see we are not assigning any size to my array, but just we are assigning the values to the elements. Now if I want to print out the values, now when I run this and when I want to see first 4 elements, I can see in the console. And if you want to see all of them, just copy and paste these statements and change the index numbers in my array and see the values. Let's use the toString method in order to print out the elements, and we can do it as well, and we can see the elements in one line, but they are in string form. Don't forget about it, okay? So they are string right now. Okay guys, so what's the third way to create an array? We are not using new keyword, we are just assigning the values inside of curly bracket. So 1000, 110 and 1. So system.println array to toString. I'm going to use my toString method in order to see the values. and this is it. I can assign my array like this, and we can create different data type of arrays such as string. I'm going to create a string array. Well, array like the how I am creating is the same, but I'm changing the data type, like string square bracket my array 5 equals new. We may use the new keyword or not. I'm just gonna assign it just like that, and my elements are gonna be Java, Eclipse, and Selenium. And I will say system.println arrays to string my array 5, and it will bring me up the values as a string form and in the one line. Guys, we can create an array with double. So I'm using the double, my array 6. I'll put the values 9.8, 4.3, or anything, any kind of double array you want. So we can print out the array with, again, using arrays to string method. I will create another string array, and now I'm going to use the new keyword also. So this is another example. My array, I can name it as 7, and it will be, I will use the new keyword, and it will hold 3 elements. So this is a fixed size. I can only put 3 elements in it. My array 7, 0 equals Amazon. So if I want to print out this, we are using toString method, and we can see it in the console. Next thing is I'm going to create a Boolean array, and we will print it out again with the toString method. Let's do it. My Boolean array is going to only hold true, false, or true value, and I will print out it also with using toString method. My Boolean variable, like my Boolean array, can also hold expression like 6 greater than 8 or any kind of Boolean expression. It can also hold this kind of expression. So thank you so much, guys, and see you at another tutorial. Hi everyone, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial we are going to learn what is Arraylist and how can we create it. Let's start with what is Arraylist. In the previous tutorials we learned what is array in Java. So today we are going to learn Arraylist. Arraylists are dynamic arrays in Java. What's the difference between Arraylist and array? Well, the first difference is Arraylist can hold different data types. If you remember the array, it was only holding one type of data type. So the second difference is arrays are fixed size, but the array lists are not fixed size. We can keep adding some elements to our array lists. Another difference is we are adding the value with add method to the array lists. So I'm going to create my array list as start to typing array list. It's a class name with the L capital in the middle, and my array list object is going to be named as array list with the lowercase. So I have diamond bracket here. You need to erase it first. Just keep the array list class name. So inside of this diamond bracket we will write down some string or integer classes or any kind of class later, but now I am erasing. And I write down my array list name equals, we are using new keyword and array list class name again. And in the right side my array list has diamond bracket. I am erasing that also. You can erase it or you can keep it. It's not going to affect your program. I'm going to keep it. Now my array list is ready, and I'm going to assign values to the array list. I'm using add method in order to add the values. So add, the first thing is going to be some data type. It can be any data type right now. I assign 90. It's an integer. Right now I'm going to assign string. I'm using double quote, and string. I will keep assigning the values. I will assign some boolean value such as true or false. Now in order to print out this array list, I'm going to use my print method, and inside I will write down the array list name. And when we do that, we can see the values in the console. I will use my print method again in order to find out the length of this array or size of this array. So now I just add 3 elements, and when I put ArrayList.size, it will bring me the value of 3. So there's 3 elements and my size is 3. Now I am going to use the remove method in order to remove the index numbers. So you can see index here. I'm going to put one number here, and right now I put 1. So my ArrayList remove method is going to remove the index number 1. In this case, index number 1 is string. So index number 0 is 90, index number 1 is string, index number 2 is true. Then when I print out my array list, I will see that this index number 1 have been removed. So as you can see, 90 and true, and string is gone. So declaring the array list in one statement, we have another way to declare the array list, guys. And instead of using add method, we will assign the values in one single line. So again, I'm going to create my array list. I erase the diamond bracket. It's going to be named as ArrayList2 equal new array list. So now in the parentheses, I will write down arrays.asList. This method helps me to put the values in one statement, and inside of this arrays.asList method, we are going to assign values inside, such as string. I'm going to put some integer, and then I'm going to put some character, more integer, and I will put boolean data type, which is true. Now I assign my array list in one statement, and when I try to print it out, or I can add one more value, ArrayList.add, such as false. We can add false. This is also another boolean, and now this is a valid declaration. And when I print out this method, when I print out this array list, I will see all the values. So this false is going to be added all the way to the end. As you can see, if I add a method, it adds it at the end of the list. Now the next thing is, we will learn how to create generic array lists. Generic means my array list can hold only one data type. So we will change our array list, and it will be able to hold only one type of data type, and we can determine what kind of data type I would like to hold in my array lists. Now I am creating my array list. In this declaration, I'm not going to erase this diamond bracket. I'm going to write down string inside, and I will name my array list, new keywords, and array list again. So now guys, this array list will be only hold string values. It's not going to be able to hold integer values. So let's add the values. Names.add. I can assign string. Now I'm going to try to put some integer, and it will give me error because I can only put strings. So I will surround this integer with double quotes and make it string. I will add one more element to my array list, and then I will print it out. When I run this program, I will see values in my array list. I can create generic array lists for all kind of data types. The next array list is going to be able to hold only double values. So I am creating my array list, and inside of diamond bracket I'm writing down double. Arraylist3 equals new Arraylist. If you realize this double is not with the lowercase, it's with the uppercase, because this double represents a class. This is a double class. So right now it will be able to hold only double values. I will do the same for byte. I copied everything, changed this generic data type into byte, and I will of course change my Arraylist name. And now I will add some byte here. Now when I put 126, it is receiving it as integer, so I would like to make sure that what I put inside is byte. So I will cast it. I will put byte in a parenthesis, and I'll make sure that this number that I put is byte. I will do the same for integer type array list. As you realize, my integer, again, it's with uppercase because it represents the class, and I can add big numbers to my integer array list. I change my array list name right here. It will be age. And now when I want to print out this array list, I will say system.out.println, this is the age array list plus age. Add a value to specific index number, size increases. When I keep adding my values, guys, my size is increasing. So I will add one element to one specific index number. For example, I add 99 to my index number 2. Alright, so I will print out this array list again, and now this array list is going to change a little bit. The second was let's see, this is when I am using the add element, guys. As you can see, 99 has been inserted in the middle, and my 12, which is the rest of the array list, is moved on. So I added this 99 element to a specific index number. So I will add a couple of more, and you will see how my array list is changing as I am adding values. So 4 to one number, it can be any number. I will add 4 to my index number, I will add 10 to my index number 4, and when I run this program, you will see it keeps increasing. If I change it into 10, guys, and if I try to run this program again, let's see what's gonna happen. Now I don't have index number 10, and it will give me error, okay, because in my array list I don't have the index number 10. That's why since the size is 5, you cannot insert any number to index number 10 because it doesn't exist. So it will give me an error. When I change this index number into 5, as you can see, it added my value all the way to the end. So to make it more clear, maybe I can change the 10 into another number, so you can see which number has been inserted to which place. Another method is, guys, set method. Set methods change the value in the specific index number, and the different thing is size stays same. So I will change this add into set, guys. Now instead of just inserting the number into the middle, it will replace the index number 4 with the number that I'm going to put here. So let's run this program, but let me change this number into 99 so you can see which one has been changed. So as you can see, size stayed same in my set method. It just replaced my element, replaced the element with my element. So index number 4 was 10, but I replaced it with 98. Alright, let me write down everything, and you will be able to see what's the difference between set and add methods. Now I will show you guys size method. This is another important method. And this size method returns the number of elements in array list. I'm using my printer method, and I will say this is the size of the array list plus age.size. And also I would like to find what is the highest index number in my array list. Highest index number in the array list is always size minus 1, which is the actual size of the array list minus 1. The reason it's happening because My highest index number is h size that -1 because we are starting to counting from 0 in the index numbers. That's why the highest index number is always the length of the array or array list minus size. Length of the array or array list -1. So thank you so much, guys. This is it today, and we are going to see each other at another tutorial. Hi everyone, welcome. This is Ahmetcan Türk. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to create for loop in Java. So let's get started. I created the initial skeleton of the for loop. Well, for loop is very useful, guys. We are going to use our for loop in order to iterate over our statements again and again. So let's create a for loop, guys. I'm going to try to print numbers from 0 to 100, and in order to do that, I'm going to create a for loop. So when you write down for, Eclipse is helping me to create the for loop, and I will change this args.length into any number. I'm writing down 100. So this writing down 100 in the console, I will see the numbers starting from 0 to 99. So let's run this code, and you will see the numbers all the way from 0 to 99. If I scroll up, you will see that. But let me change this 100 to 101 because I want to create a program which is printing out numbers from 0 to 100. And now there you go. So we'll make different examples right now. This I is representing the numbers that I print out here. And I is starting from 0. Now I make it 50. And I will see the numbers starting from 50 all the way to the hundreds. I can change this 101 also into 60, and I will see the numbers starting from 50 to 59. Alright, so we can change the range and we can see different numbers. So again, 0 to 101, run this. So now guys, instead of this I can print out something else. Alright, so instead of this I, well, let me write down that this print method is being iterated for 100 times. Now I'm going to comment this and run this. Now I'm not going to see anything, guys, because this statement is not working now. It's being commented out. Now I will write down a print method again, and instead of this I will say hello Silicon Labs, and this for loop is going to run 100 times and will print out 100 times hello Silicon Labs. You can increase the number to 100, like 2000, million, as long as this integer goes. We can have different number of iteration. So now I put I in the beginning. Now I will be able to see I and hello Silicon Labs. So this I is increasing, and every time it's increased, we are seeing the Silicon Labs messages and the numbers at the same time. So what are we gonna do with this for loop? Actually, we will print out the array elements with this for loop. Now I'm going to comment this printer method, and I will say that we can use for loop for printing array elements. This is not only array, we can do different kind of iterating with these for loops. But printing out the array elements is one benefit. I am creating my array, integer array, new. I don't need to use the new. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 7, and 6. So I'm creating my for loop, and I choose for over an array. You will see that in the drop down menu, and it's creating a for loop for my array, and in the range, instead of number, I have array.length. Array.length represents a number which is the size of the array. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So writing down the 7 and array size, array.length is going to do the same thing. So I changed this array length to 7, and I'm printing out the array elements. I write down array square bracket, but inside I will write I. I is going to represent numbers starting from 0 to 7. And when I run this program, I will see the messages, I will see the elements from element index number 0 to all the way to the 6. If I use just ARR, let's see what's going to happen. I will see a bunch of memory location. So don't do that. Always remember to use the square bracket and inside just put I. So I am writing down plus 90. Now I can add 90 to all the elements of the array and I can see them like that. So 90 plus 1, 90 plus 2, all the way to the 90 plus 6. Alright, this is how we are printing out the array elements. And we can handle the elements of the array. By handling means we can add a number, we can subtract a number, or we can do a bunch of calculation with these elements. Now the next thing is, I will create an array which is printing out numbers from 10 to 1, which is reverse. So my numbers is going to flow from 10 to 1. So I'm creating my for loop. And now I'm going to change the numbers a little bit. The first initializing number will be 10. And my array that length is going to change into 1. And I'm changing the operator from less than to greater than. And my increment is going to be decrement. So I minus minus. When I print out system.println I, when I run this program, I will see the numbers from 10 to 1. Actually it's stopping 2. So in order to make it 1, you need to change this 1 into 0. I'm going to comment this previous for loops print method to have a clear output. When I run this program, I'm not going to see anything because I commented the printer method in my for loop. So we can initialize integer outside of the for loop. This is also possible. So we can initialize the integer outside of the for loop. Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm initializing the integer a equals, let's say, any number. It can be any number, right? So I'm creating a for loop, and now it comes with the pre-written numbers. I'm gonna use 1 semicolon. I'm skipping the first initialization part because I already did it outside of the for loop. I'm writing down a less than 5, a plus plus, and I'm printing out that. I can run this program. And I can see Java for 5 times. If I change the number into 4, it will only print out 1. 3, it will print out 2. So you can change the number and see how it is acting. I'm changing it to 0, and I put the index numbers also. Well, not the index number, but the initialized number, and I can see how many Java I printed out in the console. So we can create a for loop which is increasing by 2 instead of 1, or it can be any number. It can be increased by 2, by 4, by 8, any increment you want. So I'm going to make that increasing by 2. So let's create the for loop, and integer I equals 0. I will change this number into any number. It can be any number. Let's make it 20. And instead of plus plus, I will say plus equals 2. Now instead of 1, it will increase by 2. When I put system.println I, when I run this program, it will be all the numbers from 0 to 18, and it's increasing 2 by 2. If I change this number into 3, my program is going to increase 3 by 3. Let's make it 2 again. And I will comment all these printer methods, and I see nothing in the console right now. So now I'm going to create a program which is finding the even numbers in an array. So it will be a little bit difficult and fun program. First I'm going to create my array, integer square bracket, nums, and I will assign numbers to my array. And the next thing is I'm going to create a for loop. This for loop is going to start from 0 to all the way to the length of the array, which is nums that length. So let me write down for loop. So it is creating automatically an array it's creating a automatically for loop for this array. And now what I'm gonna do is I need to find out like how can I know if a number is even or odd. The answer to this question is if a number is divisible by 2, that means it's an even number, otherwise it's an odd number. Now I have if sentence, then I need to create if else blocks. I will find out if my numbers is divisible by 2 or not. I have two options. I am creating two blocks. One is if, other is else. So if nums by I, so nums square bracket I represent all the elements in the array, and I'm writing down modulus 2, which is giving me the remainder, is equal to 0. Well, that means if my number is divisible by 2 and no left any remainder, that means it's divisible by 2. And I'll print out that this number, which is the element, is even. And if you want to see what is this number, I can write down this number itself, like nums square bracket I. It will show me the numbers itself. Let me put some space and a column to make it more clear. And now, if it is not, well, then if it's not divisible by 2, then that means this number is odd. When I run this program, I can see this number is odd, and the 2 is even, and the 3 is odd. So we can see all the elements in array, and we can check if they are even or odd. So thank you so much, guys. This is all today, and see you at another video. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial, we are going to learn what is while loops in Java. So let's get started. First of all, I write down the definition of what is while loop. While loop is being used to iterate the statements, and it's very easy to create infinite loops with the while loop, so we'll be careful. I'm going to write down this is the while loop skeleton. We are using while keyword, parentheses, and inside the parentheses we have boolean condition and curly brackets. I'll create my first while loop program here. The first thing is I will create one integer, and integer j is going to be equal to 0. After that, I will start to write down my while loop. So while keywords and parentheses, and I have my while loop here, and as a condition I will put one boolean condition here. It can be true, it can be false, or it can be any expression. So I will write down j less than 5 and system.println j. So if I do that, I will see the numbers from 0 to 5. In the meantime, don't forget to put j++ because it is very important. Unless you put that, like without this statement, my loop would be infinite. So we will try that also, but first let's try this one. When I run the program, as you can see, I have the numbers starting from 0 to 4. And let's see what's gonna happen without this j++. Well, I don't recommend you guys to try that, but if you do that, you will have infinite loop. So if you don't stop it immediately, it's gonna become a problem. So just right click on this red button immediately right after running this, and if I put it again, I will have the numbers. I am writing down my system.println j. So if I print out my j after the while loop, as you can see, it is 5. Why? Because inside of my while loop, my j went up to 5. Like it increased up to 5 after the while loop. And when I print out in the outside of the while loop, it will be seen as 5. So this is how it is working. And right now I will do the reverse. So I will do the reverse program, and I will print out my numbers from 5 to 1. So after the end of the while loop, my j is equal to 5, and I will say that while j is greater than 0, system.println j, and since I want to see the numbers reverse, I will do like j minus minus. So this is again important. Unless I do that, my program is going to be an infinite loop. So let's run this program, and as you can see, my number goes up to all the way to the 5, and from 5 all the way to the 1. The first while loop is increasing my j into 5, and the second one is decreasing. And when I print out the j after the end of the while loop, right now I will see what j has been become after the while loop. As you can see, after the while loop, my j become 0. So this is how my while loop is working. My j has been decreased one by one with using j minus minus statement. Let's do another example. I will use my while loop to loop through the arrays. In order to do that, I need to create one array, of course. So we can loop through the array with using while loop. Alright, the first thing is I created my initial integer. This is gonna help me, and I'm creating integer array which is gonna hold some numbers such as 1, 4, 5, 9, 6, and after that I can start to write down my while loop because I have my initialized 0 integer, and I'm going to create my while loop, and this while loop is going to work at the same time as my array length. So that's why I will say that as long as I is less than array length, which is 5, right, by the way, instead of 5 I'm writing down array.length because it's equal to 5. Now I can say system.println, I'm going to make it like array I, and when I do that I will see the numbers. Of course my while loop is not complete. I need to write down I++ and run this program, and I will have 1, 4, 5, 9, 6, which is the elements of my array. So let's define it better. I'm going to write down index, number, and a plus, array I, and I'll plus I. So this is going to give me the array number, like the element number, index number, and the array elements. So this is very clear definition, and when I do that I will see index number 0 equals 1, 1 equals 4, 2 equals 5, 3 equals 9, 4 equals 6. Alright, this is how my while loop is working on the arrays. We can use the while loop for array lists also, or any kind of list, and we will use it a lot indeed. So we will create a shape with while loop, guys. Let me print out the shape here, and you can find from the below. Alright, this shape is the shape that I'm gonna create. This is like a half triangle or right triangle. Alright, so it has 6 in the vertical and 6 in the horizontal, so it is 6, 6 right triangle, and I will try to create this shape in the console with using while loop. And in order to do that, I will say like I'm going to create a string which is going to be named as star, and these stars are increasing in every line by 1. So I'm creating my string star. Well, I'm going to start, but let's put it as stairs, and I'm going to create an empty string. This is an empty string, stairs. So these stairs are actually, they are holding one bigger, like the one extra star from the previous one. So I'm creating an integer while loop, and I will say that this while loop is going to work for any number that I want. So I'm putting 5 here, but stars are 6 of the stars, so I'm going to change it into 6. And I will say that in every step, let's add the stairs 1 star. Alright, so my stairs, it was empty. Now in every step I will add 1 star. For example, in first step I add 1 star, and in the second step I'm gonna add another star, and it will go all the way down to the 6 stairs, and then I will have 6 star at the end, and I will put A++. Now I need to print out these stairs in every step. When I run this program, I will have this shape. Well, this is printing out 1 star, and in the second step it's printing out 2 star. In the next step it's printing out 3 star, and it goes all the way to the 6 star. And if I change the number into 2, I will have a smaller triangle, and if I change it into 3, I will have a bigger one. 4, it's a bigger one, and you can choose the number of your star. Alright guys, so let me comment all this system out printlns so that my console is gonna be a little bit clearer, and I will show you guys another example. So guys, break statement. Break statement is basically kills the loop. So how does it do? I will create one integer count which is equals to 1. So while my count is less than 8, system out println count, and I'm putting break here. So this break statement is important guys, because normally my while loop should print out numbers from 0 to 4, but I'm putting break, so it will just do one execution, and since after one execution my program sees the break statement, my program is gonna finish, and it doesn't matter if I change the number. If I change the number, count number into 1, I will only see 1 because it's starting from 1, and I will have this kind of execution. So this break statement always kills the loop as long as it's encountered with the loop. I copy the whole thing and I will change the counter, and I will make it a little bit complicated program right now. I will erase everything and insert if statement here, and now break statement will make much more sense with this example. I will say if the count to is, let's say, equal to any number, I will say 5 and break the statement, like to break the loop. And otherwise just system out println count 2 and count 2 plus plus. If I don't count 2 plus plus, it's going to create a infinite for loop, so I need to put count 2 plus plus. So run this program 1 2 3 4. So as long as my count 2 is equal to 5, my program killed the loop, and this program finishes if count equals to 5. Alright, so right now only 1 2 3 4 5, and I will say I print out the system out println count 2 after the while loop, and my count 2 went only up to 5 because at 5 my program finished. I didn't print out in the console, and my count 2 has stopped increasing at 5. Hi guys, this is Ahmet Can Türk. In this tutorial we are going to learn what is two-dimensional arrays, how to create them, and how to print them out. So let's get started. What is two-dimensional arrays? I will try to explain it here. So guys, the thing I'm going to draw right now is basically one typical array. If we are creating array, we are kind of creating, in a theory, we are creating one row, all right? And we are assigning our elements to these rows. If we are creating two-dimensional arrays, we are basically creating a row and column at the same time. So two-dimensional array looks like this. It is look like one table. So before, my one-dimensional array was look like one row, but right now I have also columns. So I will have my points, like the first one is 0 0, and the second one is 0 1, 0 2, 0 3, and we will have 1 0, 2 0, 3 0, and so on. We will have numbers in every cell. So I will number them one by one. Okay guys, I numbered all the cells. So all cells have their column number and row number. It's starting from 0 to 0 and it goes all the way 3 to 3. If you remember, we were started counting from 0 in the arrays or in the index numbers. So let's create this table in Java. Okay guys, if I want to try to create this table in Java, I will have something like this. I have arrays in my arrays. So my array elements right now are array elements in the two-dimensional array. As you can see, in order to create two-dimensional array, I have two square brackets and I have two curly bracket and two curly bracket here. So inside of my array, I have arrays. Right now, there are three ways to print out this array. And as you can see, my array right now have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3 column and 1, 2, 3 rows. All right. In order to print them out, it's easy. You need to click on 4. Eclipse is helping me out to print out these arrays. So I write down 4. First thing is I will print this out with for each loop. And I will write down for each again. So this has been creating automatically, but we need to have two-dimensional array above our for loop. All right. And after that, if you write down system.print ln, instead of system.print ln, we need to write down system.print and write down the item name, which is I. And right after the first, like the inner for loop, I'm going to write down system.println. And when I run this program, I will see my elements. In order to see it more clear, like more space between the elements, I can add one space here, and it will be like that. And let's see what's going to happen if I don't use this system.println at the middle. So I will see the elements in one row. All right. This is how we are seeing how we are looping through the two-dimensional array with for each loop. And now, instead of for each loop, let me comment this out. I will use for loop. So I will click on for and iterate over array with temporary variable. Just click on that. All right. So after doing that, right after the first temporary array, I will write down again for. So iterate over array. And then what I'm going to do is again system.println. For now, I will print out this temporary array. This temporary array is basically one row at a time. So JS, and J is going to be my number. And again, right after the first, right after the inner for loop, I'm going to write down system.println. And this is going to create this kind of loop. When I run this, so let me change the system.println to system.print. I run this, and I will have this expression. And when you add like a space here, you will have the spaced one. This is printing out let me write down. All right, this is how to loop through a two-dimensional array with for loop. We have another way to do that. After commenting out this system.println, I'm running nothing in the console. That's good. So there's a third way. Again, for loop. But in this case, we are not going to use temporary array. I'm going to write down for loop, iterate over array, and it will create an array.length. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'll create another array, iterate through array, and it will create another for loop with the another variable name, which is j, and both of them is going through the array.length. And when I print this out, and array I, in this case, I need to write down the first column is the first square bracket is I, which is the first for loop element, and the second one is j, which is the second for loop element. And I need to add space here. Again, this is not println, this is going to be print, and I will add system.println here in order to have a clear vision. And when I run this, I will have this. So these are 3 ways to print out 2-dimensional arrays. Thank you so much, guys, and see you at another tutorial. Thank you for watching full Java course. As you know, these topics are going until 2-dimensional array. And for the rest of the topic, you can hit the link on the top, which is for object-oriented programming full course. It is starting from methods, void methods, non-void methods, class members, and all object-oriented topics, and also it includes exception handling. You can find it on the link on the top. Thank you for watching again, and have a good day.